Right, so welcome to the next video. This video is on an NDB procedure leading to an ILS approach. So we're in Cape Town, South Africa. We're currently at 7,500 feet, and what we're doing is we're routing towards the Charlie Bravo, which is this NDB here, and we're going to take the wind off for now. So we're heading towards here. So I'll just correct the course a little bit. And what we're going to do is we're going to pick up this ILS procedure that you can now see on your screen. So as you can see, it's the ILS Yankee for runway 19. Wouldn't strictly be flown like this in real life, but we've got all the detail we need on the chart to do it, so we're going to do it. So we're not going to pay any attention to VOR. We've done that in other videos. We're just going to use the NDB and the actual ILS frequency itself. So a couple of things to discuss. First of all, what's an ILS approach? It is Instrument Landing System is what ILS stands for, and it's the basic approach that every airport generally has one or two, unless it's a fairly small airport. If it's an international airport, normally they have an ILS approach. What we're going to do here is we're going to go around. We're going to go to the Charlie Bravo. We're coming in from the northwest here. We're going to go overhead the Charlie Bravo, and we're going to then make a left turn on the 009 heading, and we're going to set our stopwatch then. And you would use a VOR or the ILS frequency for this. So let me see, what is ILS is KSI. So yeah, we can do it on the ILS frequency for the distance. So we're going to go out to 11 miles on the ILS, and then we're going to turn inbound and we're going to intercept the ILS. So this is kind of using an NDB to get onto an ILS approach. Today we're going to do a Cat 1 ILS, so we've got minimums of 350. So that is our decision altitude if we didn't see anything. So that put that on here, 350, and it is a barometric altitude as opposed to a radio altitude. How do you know the difference? This is barometric, these ones. The 200 is your height above airfield elevation. If it was a radio altitude you were setting your minimums to, it would say RA or something similar to that, which you'd see in the Cat 2. So yeah, that's how you tell the difference. What else do we need to have in? We need to have the ILS frequency, which is 109.1. So let's put in our navcom. Let's go to radios, nav1. We're going to put 109.10. Transfer that to active. That's there, that's active. And our course, so let's go back. Yeah, so localiser 1. This, yeah, that's right. So this is picking up already that it's an ILS frequency, and we are going to set the inbound course. So the inbound course is 189, and that's not moving. It's already set 189. Oh, that's quite smart. So it's already set the inbound course to the correct inbound, and you can see that we're flying towards the ILS frequency, which is right. So what have we done? We've put in the ILS frequency, which is one thing you need. We've put in the inbound course. Well, the computer's put in the inbound course, but we would have done it otherwise. So that's another thing you would need. And the last thing you need for an ILS 350 decision altitude. You would also have a look at your missed approach, which we don't plan on doing today. You would have planned your runway distance. You would have had a look at the approach itself, and you would have worked out when you would have configured the aircraft, all that kind of good stuff. One thing to note on this approach is there is quite a lot of, I'm going to pause here, there's quite a lot of terrain around the actual procedure. So you can see here that we're at 7,500 feet currently, and you can see that there was a note here, procedure turn, okay, sorry, that wasn't it, initial approach 6,500 feet or higher MSA. So if we were in this direction here, coming in from the east, we would have to be at 7,300 feet at the minimum. So we're at 7.5. we could actually come down to 6.5 because the MSA from our direction is 4,600. And then descend in the hole to 4,000. So the 4,000 feet, we would descend in here, and then we would descend. Then whenever we get around the corner, we descend further to our platform altitude of 3,000 feet. So yeah, we got to really be careful with terrain this time. So we'll descend down to 6,500 feet because we can, and then we'll descend further once we get established. But yeah, just pause that quickly just because things are getting very quick. So we're still tracking this NDB inbound, and whenever we turn overhead it, we're going to turn on to heading of 009. How else can we tell that we're getting close to the NDB? Well, we could also tell by our ILS localiser bar will come in, because the ILS and the NDB are both located right on the ILS approach center line. Both of them this bar should come in just as this is getting really, really close and about to swing round. So that'll be our first indication that we need to be ready with a heading bug. And we will descend now to 6,500 feet because we can. And we'll go down in VS. Why do I like going down in VS? Because it makes things much smoother. So just tweaking for our NDB. Oh, you can see it's getting really sensitive, and there's the bar gone in. So now we need to turn onto 005. Right, so once we go outbound, we're going out to 11 miles on the KSI DME. So KSI is identified 109.1, which is correct, and we are going to go out to 11 miles on that. We'll make it a little bit smaller. Alright, it should be 009, not 005. Right, so we're going outbound, we're descending down to 6,500 feet. The note actually said we could descend down to 4,000 feet and hold, so let's do that. And we're also going to now, we're not really paying much attention to that anymore, to the NDB. So if we set our, oops, wrong buttons, that's right, and we want to set this to nav1, so we have the distance for the ILS, but we can also have the ADF on here, so we'll have it on there as the ADF now as this. So just tweaking the power back to bring the speed back again. We're not overly concerned with how we're going to fly the aircraft. It's more of an example of how to fly the procedure. So obviously you would have worked out when you would configure your flaps and all that kind of stuff, but we're not worrying about that too much today. So what we're going to do now is we're going to turn a left turn onto heading of 189 inbound. But actually what we're going to do is we're going to intercept the ILS localiser. So we could do that by just hitting the approach button, and we might do that, but for the start we'll do it with the heading bug just to show how to track. The wind's straight down the runway, so not really a big deal, but it's quite simple just to turn around the corner, hit the approach button, and let the computer do all the hard work for you. So we're past 11 miles, sleeping, and we're going to turn around. So there's our 4,000 feet that we're going down to, and because we're past our 11 miles, we can descend down to 3,000 feet now. So there's 3,000. Still going down. we've turned inbound, but we haven't intercepted the localizer, so we're going to put an intercept on. And this is where your NDB helps. So you know that your NDB inbound course is the same, and there's the NDB needle, and it's just sitting off the left, so you can tell how far you're off actually by using NDB. Because the localizer bar is on full scale deflection, so it's not really giving you any information, any decent information anyway. So if we just go to the right of the NDB, we're going to push the head in, and then the localizer bar is going to slowly start drifting in. So the NDB is quite useful there. You can actually see, because it's on the ILS center line, how much of an offset you need to put in order to intercept it. So you can also see now that we're really high. So we're at 5,000 feet. The airfield elevation is 151 feet. So we're basically, at the minute, we're 5,000 feet above ground level. So what does that mean? Normally you need 3 times your height in miles to get the height off. So and that would be in a jet. Although this is a turboprop, it can go down a bit faster, so we'll be all right. But we would need 15 miles. So 3 times 5 would be 15, and we've only got 9.5 miles. So at this point in a jet, you'd really be pooing your pants. You'd really be throwing everything you've got out to try and get that speed off. That altitude off. So what we can do in a turboprop is just dip her down a bit and put your first stage flaps, put a little bit of drag out, bring the power back, shut that lady up, she's really annoying. And we're also going to turn into the localizer course. What you don't want to do on an ILS is capture the glide slope from above like we're doing. So you wouldn't select the approach button at this point, because the computer could lock on the glide slope and it'll just dive for it. So what you actually want to do is do what we're doing, go down in VS, get below the glide slope, and then recapture it. So this will probably going to look alright actually, but we'll bring so let's see, right, so our descent point's at 8.3D, so we're already past that, so we should be 3,000 feet there, so yeah, we're really high. So let's put our gear down on our last stage of flaps. Right. So yeah, bit of a ropey approach. Good to see though how to address that. And so our next check altitude would have been like 6 miles, 2,210 feet. And what you can see, the localizer is just drifting off on us, so we're going to turn a little bit to the right again, re-intercept that bar, chase that bar the whole way down. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect the autopilot and the flight director, and I'm going to manually fly it. So I'm going to manually fly it now. So we're past our 3,000 feet of platform altitude, that's fine, that's what we're expecting. This pack's 6 miles, so it should have been passing 2,200 feet. So now we're expecting the glide slip to come in. We're turning back onto our localizer, intercepting that heading, and there's our localizer, or our glide slips coming back in. So what you would do normally is you would reselect your MCP altitude to your missed approach altitude for that later on. We're not going to worry about that today. I can't remember what it is. I don't really have the capacity to look at it at the minute. There we go. Back on the glide slope. Adding a bit of power back on. And now we're going to follow that glide slope and that localizer bar the whole way. So we're going to constantly scan between our speed, our glide slope, our localizer, and we're going to adjust everything. So localizer is a wee bit to the right, so we're going to chase that. Our glide slope's a little bit up, so we're going to pitch up, and then we're going to add a little bit of power. We're going to chase that, chasing back again on the localizer, and we're going to look outside a little bit because we should slowly start seeing the runway coming in. So just chasing all these things at once. We're pitching down, we're chasing that localizer bar. It's going to start to get more and more sensitive the closer we get to the runway. Our landing gear's down, so we would do our landing checklist. So landing gear, flaps are full, we're more or less on speed, whatever it is, and I can just see the approach lights coming in. So now everything's getting really sensitive. The closer you get to those localiser and glide slope antenna, everything, just like VORs and NDBs, everything becomes much more sensitive. And we're going to try and fly them the whole way down, keeping that green line in the middle and keeping that green dot in the middle, keeping that speed somewhere around 80, 85 knots. So we're getting a little bit high again, so all we need to do is take a little bit of power off, let the aircraft catch back up with a glide slope. Now we can look outside. We're visual already, so now we're going to bring the visual picture into our scan as well. So we're going to keep our scan, our speed, our glide slope, localizer, outside, inside, localizer, glide slope, speed, outside, looks good, inside, localizer, glide slope, speed, looks good, outside, looks good. Bringing our poppy in, it ties up with a glide slope, that looks good. Glide slope, localizer, speed, runway, orientation, all looks good. We keep scanning between them. Now we're getting ready for a landing. We're thinking about where we're going to try and touch down, which is those big white blocks, which is our aiming points. So we're going to aim for those. Probably not hit them because it's flight sim and I'm rubbish at landing in it. Just like real life. 2 reds, 2 whites, that looks good. Glide slope's good, localizer's good, speed's good. And you're just following these the whole way down. Glide slope, localizer, speed, outside, glide slope, localizer, speed. Try and stay on that center line. Glide slope, localizer, speed. Oh, the wind really changed there. Wind on the ground looks calm on the windsock, but it's definitely not calm on this. Glide slope, localizer, speed. Yeah, look, so we're forgetting about the glide slope, localizer now. We're just outside. We've got those aiming points in the right place. We're going to bring it down. Speed's good. Now we're going to close the power. Gentle pitch back. Little squeeze rudder. That's the over the nose wheel. And that's that. So that's using an NDB to get onto an ILS approach. Not typically what would happen in real life, because you had a VOR and whatever, and you would probably use the best navies that you've got, and a VOR in this case would probably have worked much better, but nonetheless it shows you how you can use an NDB. If people are interested, there's a couple of NDB approaches I know of that I can give a go if people want to see them. So yeah, thanks for watching. Any comments, put them, any questions, put them in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them, and if you'd like to see any other tutorials or examples of approaches, then put them in the comments. I'll do my best to do them, and likewise, if you want to see more tutorials and stuff like that, hit the subscribe button, and I'll do my best to get some good stuff up. Thanks.